Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome back to another episode or video on Lord of the Rings Home. I'm not sure why I said it that way. Today, we're actually going to be deep diving all of the contents that we've heard in the announcement of the Mines of Moria raid, but not just that. I do kind of want to do a quick little overview, and I guess you could call this a state of the game video because I have to say that, and I'll say this right up front, I haven't read, I kind of skimmed through the raid bit, I haven't actually deep dived it, so we're going to do that here in today's video. But I want to talk about where the game is headed and whether or not it's going to survive in a good way. So I want to put it in that terms because it's not that the game is dead, but I am concerned, and I've been concerned for some time because I've been on the fence, honestly, for a while, that the player base is shrinking. It wasn't even that big of a player base to begin with. And my largest concern is that when things that are more exciting like raids do come out, that they're not going to be able to bring the player base or the amount of players into the game that needs to be here for a game such as this. So I don't know if this is just going to be how this game is going to go in the future, is that it's just going to be, a population of mediocrity. And what I mean by that is that just it's not going to be as big as, it's never going to be as big as, or even half the size really of Star Wars Galaxy Heroes or Marvel Strike Force, which on that front is kind of sad because the game I feel is on the down anyways, and they can't even reach, half of those numbers. And, I, as a content creator, want to play a game and I want to cover a game that is thriving and that is growing, not a game that is stagnant and that is on the decline. But, we'll talk about that more after we go through the guilds, the raid stuff. And actually, I just said guilds. Speaking of guilds, I'm down to 26 out of 36 members. Is this looking like one of your guilds? I feel like people are just dropping out due to inactivity because there's nothing to do. But we'll talk about that a little bit more a bit later. So let's jump on over to the blog, which talks about the raids. So I'm going to try to cover most of this. So to recap, raids will be open to guilds and their members to engage with. We are aiming, and by the way, this is on EA.com in the Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth section. We are aiming for guilds to be able to kick off a raid off about once a week and last up to 4 or 5 days. I find it weird that they just don't have the details yet. Like, is it 4 or is it 5 days? I feel like unless you can complete it quicker, I feel like, why do they not have this down packed already? There is some concerns that I'll have later on as well, which comes from another announcement that they made. That being said, the length of raid depends on how well it gets done. I mean, so they do say that, but what does that mean? Does that mean there's nodes, and if you clear the nodes quicker, then yeah, okay, it finishes sooner? I feel like in 2023 and in a game like this, I just feel that more information is better than less information. I think we're past the FOMO stages of mobile gaming. People just, there was a great article by Sensor Tower about the state of mobile gaming 2023, and games like this are on the decline, actually, and it really doesn't surprise me one bit. Each raid consists of multiple chapters of exciting gameplay. These chapters will slowly roll out, so we're gonna get it. I'm not gonna put a time frame on this when the raids are gonna come out, but it sounds like we're only gonna be getting one chapter, and there's also some screenshots down below. And it says, for example, one chapter may be all about dealing as much damage to a single raid boss, while another chapter may focus on healing and surviving as many turns as possible, probably in a wave sort of battle type scenario. In addition to chapter progress, points are earned in battle will contribute to both personal rewards for yourself and end of raid rewards for everyone in the guild. So what I do like about it, and maybe they talk about it down below, is the dynamically changing raid experience. Basically that depending on how strong you are as a player, that you can maybe tweak your raid difficulty individually, and that'll still kind of contribute to the guild writ large, which is probably the most positive thing that I've read about this. So this part here, they accrue by increasing the difficulty of the raid on each of their attempts, independent of their guild mates. Obviously, if you want the best of the best score, you're going to have players who are like-minded and have the best, but it doesn't mean that you can't contribute to guild rewards at all, so that's really nice still. Now, what's required? You need to be at least level 30, be part of a guild, be prepared In order for your guild to start your raid, you'll need to collect raid keys. Now, some people have talked about this before. I absolutely hate this system. I hate this with a passion. They had this Marvel Strike Force. They recently got rid of this, where now the guild gets an automatic amount of raid keys to launch per day, irregardless of how many players are in your guild in Marvel Strike Force. And so they've made this significantly easier. And now this, I have no idea how it works with Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, but I'm telling you that raid keys are not the answer, and this is shit. Especially when it requires a full guild and contribution to get these. Now, how... Each time a guild member completes specific daily objectives. So I'm going to tell you right now, if this requires all 36 members of a guild to complete their daily objectives to get enough to launch a raid or something, that's going to be absolute shit. Like, I'm just telling you upfront right now, like, that's not going to fly. So individual efforts on your own daily, like, what does this mean? How many people needs to do this? If we're only launching it once a week, what does that really mean? Why do we have to get raid keys if it's only once a week? Like, that part doesn't, I don't understand that. Cool. Thanks, you spent so much time on the graphics. Once a raid has begun, each chapter will be open for 24 hours, and guilds must earn a certain amount of banked points to unlock the next chapter and proceed forth. So they said that not all of the chapters are going to be launched right away. So what are we expecting when this does launch? Are we just going to get one chapter, or are they going to launch a few chapters, you know, and then launch later down the line? Like, if we don't get at least like 3 chapters, this raid is going to be a flop, and this release is going to be a flop, because that's going to be like, okay, like a 24-hour thing or whatever, and that's it. Or we're going to spend like 4 days on one chapter, which we don't like we need some more answers, I think, about this, about what's upcoming for us. The amount of points needed to progress to the next chapter will vary from chapter to chapter. If you're not able to hit the required points, the raid will end. This is a short grace period after a chapter is closed, when anyone who started a raid attempt can finish and submit their attempt. So this picture here, which shows chapter 1, points required 17,000. My guess is 17 million. Sorry, to get to the next chapter. Presumably, it tells you a bunch of ways that you get points, and you're going to be, you know, playing with your guild, or this is your individual attempt. It shows 2,500 raid keys. Again, is this a guild-based requirement? What does that mean? Is it like 100 raid keys per person and 25 people have to pool in to get that? Are all 36 members of your guild actually participating? I heard that in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, there's like some leeway in terms of how many players are in your guild, but how many players participate. Don't know if that's true or not, since I don't play the game. And this is tailored after Capital Games. There's been some drama related to the units allowed part. I mean, honestly, they would be kneecapping them so hard if there is a requirement in terms of the characters on the first raid. I just personally don't think that's going to happen, because if they did, this game is going to be dead before it gets even going. So if they want to, be my guest, you know, but I won't be playing this if they restrict characters in terms of what's needed, because that's absolute bullshit, and I highly doubt that they're that stupid. And I hope that they're not. Otherwise, this game is going to be dead. Once your guild has collected all the required keys needed to unlock the raid, kickoffs can be organized and started by guild officers. Throughout the raid period, guild members will be kept up to date with game notifications, and game players can check in to see how their guild is doing. Okay, cool. And then there's the battle, I guess. So maybe the first chapter is just, you know, a battle. Maybe it's a gauntlet battle where they keep kind of getting spit out and you kill as much as you can, I guess, to get the required points. There's bombers that give you bonus points, and so I see six characters, and at least they have brand new models, and that's cool. I really hope you're not using Road to Rivendell, because they don't have any AoE, so you're going to want some more AoE characters probably for something like this would be better, or like some AoE sustain team. Like my Rivendell with my Ironhide Troll might suffice. After you start your battle, you'll choose which characters you'll take into the fray. You do have a limited number of attempts, as well as a timer, so that suggests more than one, as well as a timer in which you'll need to earn as many points as possible. During battle, you'll be able to see your current score as well as the maximum possible score. Okay, cool. Being part of a guild... As an individual, you'll unlock more rewards the more points you collect during the raid, along with gaining guild rewards that get better as the guilds progress. So I've been told that we don't even know what we're getting necessarily, but there's 2 lumps of rewards. There's the guild section that everyone gets, and then your personal rewards depending on your own score, which is fine. Different chests for different total guild raid points. I guess that's cool. It's kind of like a raid season milestone. like there is in Marvel Strike Force. For people who have played that, it's like, okay, you're unlocking different sets of rewards as you go along. That's basically a raid season milestone. And individual rewards includes what appears to be a shitty amount of gold. I have to say, because if this is weekly, that's like fuck all. But that's just my thoughts on that one there. I know there's probably a little bit more than this, but so far, 20k gold 30k gold even is not a lot. My daily challenge gives me 120,000 every 2 or 3 days. So, hey, just say it. I hope this goes up. And they say there is gold raid coins and mithril raid coins, which can eventually be used to purchase items in the raid shop. I don't think we actually know what those items are, but we can guess that it's probably some gear related stuff, and there's a character that's going to be in there, I believe, as well. Maybe they mentioned that further down below when I skimmed it. Raid points earned, chapter 1, personal rewards, guild rewards, and so I guess that's the progress towards unlocking chapter 2 is what they're talking about. Now maybe you can only do one run, but you have multiple attempts to do your best run. That's almost what it looks like, that maybe you have like 3 attempts, and if you want to try again with different characters or whatever, that you could do that again. And that's kind of what I'm looking at here. That's what it looks like. I don't know if it actually said necessarily. There's leaderboards for guild things, banked attempts across the guilds. You see information that says banked, all the banked attempts. And your own personal best banked. Oh, maybe it's just like, okay, of the week, I guess. So what happens when your guild finishes a raid? Well, congratulations, now the spoils. So rewards. Featured character shards. Now, that doesn't mean that it's a new character. A lot of people are assuming this is a new character. It might not be. It could just be a featured character for the month or something like that you can buy that's maybe a little bit more coveted or a little bit harder to farm. Gems. Okay, more gem sources. That's always nice. Gold, which we saw above. Character XP, which we didn't see above, but maybe that's in the store. Raid supply currency. Of note, the raid coins can be spent on rare gear pieces. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean the unique items, things that you find in like the new stores now? Or is that what they call blue gear? I'm not sure. Luminous and shadow crystals. But no, oh yeah, sorry. The crystals are super important, man. There can never be enough of those. Essences. Featured character shards again. So since they've mentioned this twice, part of me feels like it's not necessarily a new character. And then purple and a green ability material. And that's going to be really important because I can't get my Elrond to level 6 leader because I don't have those green ability materials. Now, everything in this article is subject to change. You know what? I have this great thing here because I took this from Marvel Strike Force. Because Marvel Strike Force at the bottom of their blogs have this fucking text all the time. And normally what this means is that half of what you read is not actually going to be what you get. So keep that in mind, everybody, that things in this game are subject to change as well, just like Marvel Strike Force. And lastly, I do want to talk about this post on Twitter that came about. Let's kind of zoom in. That was this morning, I think, or something. So for those of you who have been asking, when is raids happening? We cannot give you the exact answer, but we can supply a little bit more. So basically this blog. And so the biggest problem here is that they actually had to make a statement regarding this. And there have been people talking about how maybe that we would see it by the end of July. Others who have been said sometime in August. I'm going to tell you right now that if the raids are not here by August, I think this game is in deep trouble. I think that this game is not going to... I'm not going to say it's not going to survive. It's not going to be in a good state. The amount of players that are left and the amount of players who will join and come back is very minimal. And that doesn't lead to a successful game. Maybe they could just, milk the whales and the krakens that do exist on this game in the top 500 or whatever they happen to be. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be a successful game if they don't bring this out sooner or later. Now, I don't want them to rush it, but I feel like if they can't bring this out in a timely manner, again, something that I feel should have been here for global launch, and I don't care what other people have to say, that yes, it is fine to have raids out on a global launch game because there are going to be lower level difficulty raised, or at least there should have been some thought put into that so that people of all levels can contribute. Now, if this doesn't come within 4 weeks, I'm probably going to be questioning my own existence in this game, and I know that that doesn't matter to CG or Capital Games, but I know that I'm probably not the only one feeling that way. You know, I've been reading the room, and not in the Lord of the Rings Discord, let me tell you that, because there's so much white knighting going on in that Discord. It's absolutely unreal. People with their heads in the sand about the state of the game, thinking that everything's gravy and that the population is going to survive. I'm telling you, it's not. So if they wait too long on this, the game is not going to be successful. And that's just how it is. I mean, you can play some bets against what I just said, but in terms of the player population, that's what I gauge as success. And I guess that's going to vary, and so maybe my thoughts are skewed. But I'm comparing to even like a portion of the Marvel Strike Force player base, which is already on the down from when it was before. And if they can't even manage that, then this game is dead before it got started. There was so much that they should have done, that they should have fixed, that they should have not global launched in the state that they were. And I feel that they should have probably waited until they're ready for raids to launch it for global launch. Would have given more things to do. Literally, there's people are just dying of wanting to play the game, like myself. I like the game, but I'm also not going to sit here waiting for months and months for things to come out. And as a creator, that's something that concerns me greatly. So if there's nothing to create about, then there's nothing that I can do, and there's nothing to cover in this game. So, yeah, I don't know who's going to watch this, but anyways, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are, both about raids, the state of the game, how things are for you, are you still hanging on, and what you hope to look forward to in this. That's the end of this video, everyone, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.